Okay, everybody. Had some whole smattering of issues tonight, so bear with me. I am just getting everything up and running. Uh, so let me just check some audios in quick. We are good over on the YouTube side. We are live there and on Facebook tonight. Let me double check the audio on the Facebook side. Facebook Live is good too. And like always, we're on the Bullhorn app. This is the Whitetails and Whiskey podcast, episode number 19. So, I know we posted that we were going to have Taylor and Ethan on tonight. Unfortunately, had some stuff come up, so last minute, so I scrambled, got back down here to the bar to do the episode down here tonight. Um, so that's why we're getting a little bit of a late go at it right now. But tonight we got a couple different things. Like I said, we were gonna talk public land, out of state hunting, that kind of stuff, and that will be in a future episode. Unfortunately, it's not one that we're gonna be able to bring you tonight because of some stuff that came up. So tonight I figured we'd do something a little bit different. We'll talk about a little bit maybe more of the whiskey side of things, and then tie into what I got planned coming up for the whitetail side and habitat side of stuff, kind of to balance it all out. So we'll hit the ground running like always. This is a live Q&A. We're going to start off tonight with our whiskey of the night. This is Bell Mead. This is one that you not that common to see on store shelves. Um, and one I've been wanting to try. As you can see, I'm just cracking it open tonight. Um, this is distilled in Indiana and then bottled in Tennessee. Um, so it's an older brand that dates back to before Prohibition, closed down obviously with Prohibition, and then um, reopened uh, under the Greenbrier or Nelson's Greenbrier distillery. So a little fresh cork pop. Hopefully that came through on the audio. So, and that's what we'll be. That's what I'll be drinking tonight. Unfortunately, Nate's not joining me either. He's had stuff come up, scheduling and all that good stuff. So, but Bell Mead, and this will be probably the last one that goes in the infinity bottle right now. So, um, we're gonna pour a nice pour into our tasting glass, aged in ore. That was one you might have saw last week. The samples and stuff like that for traveling around, family events. I've been using these a heck of a lot for Christmas and gatherings and all that good stuff. These are great little 3 ounce samplers to bring with you. Um, and you can check them out, aged in ore, I believe, .com. And that's what I've been, sipping out of lately is my kind of been my drinking glass of choice is the aged in ore one, because you fill right to the bottom and you get a nice even 1.5 ounce pour for your whiskey. So a couple things about Bell Mead is a little bit higher on the rye side, so you get maybe probably some more spicy notes with it and stuff like that. It's a straight bourbon whiskey. Um, so, and I believe this is a small batch from what I kind of read briefly on it. Comes out of about 4 different barrels to make that small batch, blend it together, and you get your Bell Mead. They also make a cask strength. Um, but this is one I haven't seen in very many stores around. Been kind of looking for it. It's kind of an older heritage bottle, and I'm trying to find a Tennessee whiskey that I like and enjoy. So that's why we're diving into the Bell Mead with it. So definitely got a spice to it. I guess a little bit of baking spice, maybe some, maybe a little bit of fruit there, like some spicy fruit, kind of like so. Kind of just that normal kind of bourbon. Definitely can smell the oak in it. Kind of oaky, kind of woody, a little bit of that mixed in with that baking spice, kind of that traditional kind of bourbon smell and profile. So uh, go in, take a sip, see what we think. Definitely got a lot of that baking spice, that kind of rye. Um, and at 90 proof, 90.4 proof, I get a lot of I definitely don't get that Flintstone kind of vitamin that I get on, let's just say, that George Dickel or something like that. Um, it's actually not too bad. I think this is, I draw a lot of comparisons with this one right off the bat with the smell and the taste to like old Granddad Bonded. A little bit lighter and doesn't have that sharp a bite as that Granddad 100 does either. Um, but definitely a nice little enjoyable sipper. Definitely get a little bit more of the barrel there, a little bit more of the char, that kind of stuff with it. Um, but nice baking smell, and I got a little bit of a kind of a sour fruit taste there at the end with that one too. Not a bad sour like spoiled, but just kind of like that baking spice, kind of that fruity I was probably picking up on when I was smelling it. So, um, all in all, pretty good little sipper tonight, and that's our sipper is the Bell Mead tonight for whitetails and whiskey. So, um, Bo says, is that winter rye grain? Yes. So that would be a rye grain that goes into your bourbons and your whiskeys and stuff like that. It would be a winter rye grain. The rye grain gets put in the mash bill with a lot of these whiskeys. So in some of them, like let's just say Weller or um, some of the Buffalo Trace stuff, and then some of your makers, and then I have an old elk wheated over here too. Typically they sub out the rye and put a wheat grain in with that instead. Gives it a little bit more of a sweeter taste. That rye is more of that spicy kind of bit that I was getting with the smell and the flavor with that. Granddad's a little bit higher of a rye mash bill too, so that's probably where I'm drawing some similarities with the two ryes in the Bell Mead and the Granddad 100. So definitely doesn't bite as sharp as that Granddad Bonded, but it's proof down about 10 from that. But yeah, winter rye grain is what's going into it. And then some guys, I know Pete Cheney locally, he uses a Triticale, which is a wheat rye hybrid, for one of his grains in his mash bills. And then there's some that do a 4 grain and put a wheat and rye, barley, and then corn into their mash bill. And some of them, like Black Button, is a 4 grain, whiskey and stuff like that. So definitely some interesting stuff there. So we're going to give a little bit of whiskey factoids just because that's what's all over my bar. I didn't have time to clean it tonight. Like I said, we were a little bit behind, had some scheduling issues, had some family stuff come up. So we are just kind of shooting from the hip tonight, and that's where we're at with it. So, like I said, this will be probably the last pour of the infinity bottle. So if anybody can think of a way to give away this infinity bottle, me and Nate have tossed around a couple ideas. Whether it's going to be, like a viewer comment giveaway or anybody that's bought a hoodie. But I think the best way to do it is to head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and any subscribers to the YouTube channel will be entered to win um, the infinity bottle, which has had everything we've had on the show so far, minus the tin cup private stock, just because I'm kind of greedy with that bottle, and I'm really saving that for special stuff moving forward. Um, you know, with that. Uh, so if you want a chance to win this infinity bottle, like I said, this is everything we've tried so far. It's definitely a unique blend, and that's what you get out of these infinity bottles is mixing up some of your favorite whiskeys, or maybe some ones that you're not so fond of. For us, it's ones that we've all done here on the show, and that's what we're going to put in there. So there's Russells in there, there's Granddad in there, turkey stuff in there. There is a couple of bird dogs in there, so you do get some different fruit with this one. But I think it kind of blends together well. And then again, putting Russell's Reserve in there last week because that's what we were drinking with Mike Vienna. And then the last one will be the Bell Mead, and then we'll figure out the giveaway. Probably announce it in episode 20 or episode 21 for the Infinity Bottle. So head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and you'll be entered to win, and we'll pick it from our YouTube subscribers for the winner of that. So, and we'll put a link in the comments to the YouTube page and the YouTube channel. And I want to thank all you guys for all the support. It really means a lot. Even when we had these technical difficulties and struggle to make it happen tonight. So that kind of wraps it up with the infinity bottle and this kind of just going around the bar. What you might see right here, this was a Christmas present from my sister. This is a Whitetails and Whiskey, if you can see it on the face of it, bourbon barrel. This is a brand new oak charred barrel, and I am doing my own batch of bourbon, so to speak. Um, I was out picking up our brand new hoodies, which I'm wearing the green and white tonight. I'll pick up the two options to show you guys. We do still have hoodies available of the green label and the brown label, special reserve hoodies, kind of sticking with that whiskey theme. They are allocated, so once they're gone, they're gone. We're not going to be restocking these anytime soon. We might go to different colors or something like that, but once they're gone, they're gone. So and maybe you're collecting them all. You got the black one already for the black label. Maybe you want the green and then the brown now to round out your Whitetails and Whiskey hoodie set. So, but with this barrel, this is new charred white oak. So this is a virgin barrel, or was a virgin barrel anyway. Um, Clean the barrel out ahead of time. This is going to age for approximately 2 to 3 months. I'm going to try some samples off of it as I go with it and see kind of how it tastes and develops. But you clean it out good, run some water through it, shake it, stir it, get all the wood particles out of there from when they drill the bung out and the spigot for this barrel. And then you shake it out, clean it out, and then overnight you put about 2 liters or so of water in there, warm water. And what that does is allows the wood to expand, fills all the crevices on the barrel so this doesn't leak. Um, because there are no nails that hold barrels together. Barrels are all held together by the friction of the staves, which are the slats of wood, and then the bands that hold the barrel together. So I'm going to have probably going to lose a little bit to what's called the angel share, um, and even just a little as 3 months with this uh, aging. I might even age a little bit longer. We'll see on how it tastes and how the flavor kind of develops with it. But when I was out picking up hoodies, I stopped into the liquor store right down the road from it, and I found these, which I didn't think you could get these outside of the distillery. But these are Buffalo Trace's wheat mash white dog. So this is your straight off the still or whatever, no age. This is your corn whiskey, your moonshine, your white dog, whatever you want to call it. And that's what I used for my spirit to go into my barrel to make the Whitetails and Whiskey podcast bourbon for my bar and whatnot. So I'll probably clean the labels off and I'll probably rebottle them right in these 375s. I filled it with about five and a half or so of these. I do have one white dog back there, but you don't get any of that bourbon taste. It is corn whiskey at its finest with a little bit of wheat, so you do get some, a little bit some sweeter stuff in there from that. But I'm really looking forward to how this pulls off the barrel, and I'm really excited for it. I got to sign the back of my barrel. Barreled this up yesterday. So like I said, we're gonna let it go 2, 3 months, whatever, see how it ages out and do it. But just in the overnight, if you can see it, this is the water that was in it. And as you can see, it's kind of a definitely off clear color. And that's just from one night in the barrel. So, um, if you could see that, hopefully it shows up pretty good here. Let me put it in the light so you can see a little bit better. But you could see, if you could zoom in on it, you could see some of the wood fragments in there, some of the char, that kind of stuff. So my whiskey's not going to come out filtered, but if I was to tap some off tonight, it probably would be about that color right now, being in the barrel for a day. It's going to age a little bit faster in a smaller barrel versus a bigger barrel because of the uh, contact of the liquid to the surface area of the wood. And what's going to happen is that heats up and cools down. The basement's probably going to be where it lives for a little bit, just to get some of that different pull in and out of the stuff. But I might take it like inside and outside, to take it into the garage for a couple days to really get that, that wood soaking in and out. And a really cool example of this, before I came back home, I met up with Ethan before we had a change of plans, and he had a couple barrel staves from a project that he was working on. And if you look at these barrel staves, the dark line that's in that stave along the side, hopefully it focuses up and you can see it. So you see that dark line in there? That's where the whiskey penetrated into that wood, and that's what gets you your color, your flavor, all that stuff. And then obviously the black char of your barrel. These came out of a Maker's Mark barrel, so something a little bit different, something a little cool. He kept the lids off of it, but he gave me, I don't know, like a dozen staves or so to use for couple projects I got in mind for some whiskey crafts and stuff, so to speak. Maybe to do here at the bar. I don't know if I'm gonna do shelves out of it or trim up the bar edges or something. I haven't decided yet, but he was nice enough to give me, like I said, about a dozen staves, so I'll be playing around with those. Um, and it's really cool to be able to see the different whiskey lines and where it penetrated into the wood. This one shows it a little bit better comparatively, so hopefully you guys can kind of see that with the with a little bit of that. So if anybody's got any questions on whiskey or bourbon, I'm not a, I don't know everything about it. So, I'm learning and I'm trying to, teach people as I go. Usually I'm talking whiskey or talking stuff when people are down here at the bar trying stuff. Um, and yeah, the collection's kind of grown quite a bit over the last couple months with the podcast and all that stuff. Kind of jumped into it and slowed down. Now I got to start cleaning out a couple bottles and trying some new ones and figuring out what I like and share it around with friends and family and folks. So, but anyway, so enough of that whiskey talk for right now. Comments coming in. Let me see on the YouTube side. Don't have anything coming in on the YouTube. Got 10 viewers on, so if you want to drop a comment, let me know where you're tuning in from, or if you got any questions, stuff like that. But stuff I've been doing in the last couple weeks at work, we've been taking down more hazard ash trees and stuff like that. So I've been out doing a fair amount of chainsaw work at my full-time job at Finger Lakes Community College. Took down probably another 40 or 50 so trees today. Again, nothing super big. Most of them are averaging about this size. There are a few of them that are, kind of chest huggers, so to speak, for tree size. And then just the kind of miscellaneous cleanup, taking out some, non-native buckthorn stuff like that too, to make little pockets to drop these ash into, where they're not gonna drop and fall and hurt somebody or injure somebody. So plugging away at that. But again, right now is a good time to get out and prune or release your native apple trees and stuff like that. Also, maybe do some thinning around some of your oak trees for better mass production is another time that you can do that right now. I know the Pertinier guys have been out there whacking on it now that we've got a little bit of the snow went away that they had west of us. So I know Billy and all those guys have been itching to turn the saws on. I haven't turned a saw on my piece yet, but I got a couple habitat days for clients coming up. Um, had a property checkup last weekend, which is one that we're gonna do some habitat work on this go around. Now that we've been working with them for like 4 or 5 years now, make some kind of fine tune adjustments on the plan, cut in some beddings, and work that all in with the access and the food now that's all laid out and established that was not there when I first was there 4 or 5 years ago. So looking forward to get out there and cut these bedding areas in. We walked it and planned it out. Um, this past weekend on that piece up in Wayne County, and then I'll be over Cazenovia way on Monday for Martin Luther King Day because I'm off of work that day. This weekend I didn't schedule anything because of snow removal at the college, so trying to knock out habitat days and property visits and all that stuff with the consulting side of it. Trying to get them all in. I know I got several deposits in so far from folks wanting to get me out there, so working the best I can with the schedule. Luckily the snow's cooperating, so now we just need to have them get through their couple timber harvests and stuff like that, and then just kind of um, working through the habitat side of it. So a couple big projects I have kind of on my kind of radar this year is getting a couple new access trails cut in, new stand locations that I had found last year and marked out. Those will also be in the to-do list going forward, is get those maybe not necessarily in all the way, but roughed in and then maybe trimmed out. Have to redo some of the insides of a couple of our tower blinds. There's some stuff we got to do with that accordingly to make them shirt up a little bit better. Um, just kind of miscellaneous stuff, hangers, curtains, window tint, stuff like that. Just some miscellaneous stuff that last couple of years we've been so busy, and I've been so busy that my stuff unfortunately gets pushed to the backside of it. Clients and family and everything come first, obviously, and then I'm able to get my stuff knocked away on a little bit. So um, hopefully you guys can find some time to do the same on your stuff for this time of the year. Plap tuning in. Hey Plap, Nate couldn't hang by tonight. I should have called you to have you come on and be my guest, Plap. I know you'd always be down to join us on the show. So maybe next time we'll have Nate and Plap on, get the pair of them on for for the podcast. So, but no, like I said, the habitat stuff. Started pulling some cameras. I started going through them at my parents' house because that's right down the road from where I was going to film the night in Lions, and before plans changed. And talked to my dad for a little bit. We looked at some trail cam pictures. Have a few survivors, some younger bucks. Haven't seen a couple of the older bucks that I was hoping made it through yet, but we'll see. Still early, and I didn't pull all the cards. I just pulled a small section out there the other day. Nate and me went for a walk, talking podcast ideas and stuff like that, and just hanging out. But we're gonna tool back up and go out and maybe chase some squirrels because I got to go over to a section of the farm where I got some cameras where there's some hardwoods, and we're gonna maybe see if we can shoot a couple squirrels for Nate's grandpa to make us some squirrel stew, or I forget what Nate was calling it. But looking forward to that. Looking forward to taking my revolver out, take some squirrels with my pistol. I always enjoy, doing that, and I was fortunate enough to shoot St. Patrick this year with my pistol too, so I do enjoy that handgun hunting. But we'll obviously have the 22 rifles too for picking them off, and I do love that Remington little 22 pump that I got. So little small game hunting, some cards, some habitat work. Some of it can wait till later. I don't need to pound on it just yet, especially with doing some chainsaw stuff at work. The last thing I want to do is, you know, get home, get my saw, and then go cut for another 4 or 5 hours at my property or whatnot that I can do some work on. So, but I will find time to do it, whether it's the right timing completely or not. Some of the stuff like the access trails can get pushed off till later, but some of our fruit trees could use some prunings and stuff like that. So there's always stuff to do. But Nate texted me, asked if I'm on. Yeah, I got a late start, Nate. So if you're tuning into this, I just got a little bit of a late start tonight on it, unfortunately. So um, let's see. Let's check, make sure nothing's not seeing anything coming on the comment line. So I don't know if everybody's being able to comment in or not. I did see Bo's come in earlier for the rye grain question, but wondering if anybody else had any questions that I might have missed with it. Um, if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in. I'm just trying to make sure that I got all my bases covered with everything. I'm not missing anything. Usually Nate's watching it out of the corner of his eye like a hawk. He's kind of my go-to moderator with it. But yeah, it only shows one comment so far. But alrighty. Anyway, I know it's kind of late. I know it's not the normal time frame. Plap commented in Louisiana squirrel. That's exactly what it is, Plap. So I don't think that's a stew right off. But yeah, Louisiana squirrel is what Nate's grandpa is going to make us. We just got to bring him over some squirrels. So, and I do have one black squirrel, which we've never had one on the farm that I've ever seen. Saw one during bow season this year, so hopefully that squirrel's still around. I'd like to maybe get him and maybe put him up the corner of the bar or something with a little 2 ounce or a whiskey, you know, sitting next to him or something like that. Be kind of neat for a little addition to it. And like I said, we just don't see the black squirrel, kind of that melanistic color phase of them very often, at least on the farm and where we are. I know around some college campuses, some golf courses, towns like that, where they have a much tighter population and don't lose so many to predators and stuff like that. I know that changes a little bit. So, but definitely got some spice in this. So if you're more of a rye drinker and like that spice, I know some people that like IPAs and stuff like that, might like that rye spice a little bit more. I do like it because Granddad 100 is one of the ones I really enjoy drinking and I'll pick up from, time to time, and that's my dad's go-to. But yeah, definitely get some of that rye bite with that a little bit, and that kind of baking spices kind of smell, um, kind of that, and I do get that kind of sour fruit taste at the end. So that's kind of different. I don't usually get that with the Granddad. So Bo said he had some time this past weekend to prune some crab apples. Do you think he pruned too early? I don't think so. There's some people that say you want to get through like the deep hard freeze that you might get in late January, February time frame with it, but I don't think you prune too early. The best time to prune is when you can get out there to prune in the off season. So if you found time to do it, um, obviously that's going to be better than not getting it done at all. That's one of the things in that habitat day at my clients that I got planned coming up, probably end of the month maybe, um, is we'll plan on trimming up some of the apple trees that we found and released when we knocked in food plots and along travel corridors and stuff like that, and by stand locations, because it'll be a good time to get out there and do it while we're out there, and that'll be kind of the fine tune work at the end. Start with the most beneficial ones that'll do the best from a good pruning after we cut the beddings and stuff like that in. And hopefully going to put some of those videos up over on the Old Tin Cup channel. I know it's kind of maybe a little bit tricky balancing both channels and tuning into both, but the best way is to subscribe to both. That way the notification comes in when we put up a new video on one or the other. So, and again, speaking of subscribing, if you want to get a chance to win the Infinity Bottle, head over to the YouTube Whitetails and Whiskey page and hit that subscribe button, and we'll be able to check it out. Um, See who's subscribed, go to the list of subscribers and pick one at random, and we'll do a random number draw, and we'll see what we get. So I don't know how many YouTube subscribers we have right off. I think it's not very many, so your chances of winning this bottle are probably just about as good as the number of whiskeys that are in the bottle. Um, so right now we have on the channel, we only have 18 subscribers and 18 videos. So if you want a 1 in 18 or 1 in 20 chance right now to win the Infinity Bottle, subscribe on the YouTube channel to get a chance to win. Um, you know, and we'll go from there. I think that's how we'll do it. We'll push some subscribers over to win the Infinity Bottle. We'll do some posts on it. Share it to your friends and family. Let them get in on it. We're going to do probably more Infinity Bottles as we keep going and all that good stuff. Just kind of something different, and let you guys get a little flavor of what we've been drinking. Maybe while you guys have been, tuning in and checking us out. So, and we always appreciate it. But yeah, Plap commented back in. It sounds like you guys work at deer hunting year round. There's always something to do in the woods. Plap, I agree with you 110%. Definitely always something to do, whether it's game planning, scheming, anything like that. Um, Again, I got to get over and just kind of glanced over. I got to check out my whiteboard, start updating it for survivors as they come in to figure out, figuring out what bucks we're going to be chasing next year. Again, we killed 2 out of the 4 this year on 1 year rules. Both of our older bucks that we killed, St. Patrick and Double Wide, were both killed on 1 year rules. Didn't have any history with Hornet that I really know of. I did find a shed from 2 years ago that might have been his, kind of similar formation, but I had no solid information with him. And then halfway, I just never checked to see if it was or not. So we're just going to call it 2 out of the 4 that we killed this year. We killed on a 1 year rule. And those were the 2 oldest bucks we killed this year at we know Double Wide was probably 5.5, and then St. Patrick with these are 5.5 or 6.5, maybe older. We're gonna send the teeth out, and we'll let you guys know how they come back. But both of our oldest bucks we killed this year were killed on 1 year rules. And Outlaw was a 1 year rule buck. Bud was a 1 year rule buck, and then actually I'll give a little shout out here quick. So we are the shout out show. So my neighbor and friend that was going to be on the podcast tonight just did up this gorgeous backplate mount for Y-Buck, who was another 1 year rule buck. Um, and this is a an arrowhead that he did all the woodwork himself with. It was a maple that came just over the property line from our farm, so that's kind of cool. Um, Great buck, a lot of good stories with this buck, good history with this buck. Um, yeah, so this was Y-Buck, killed him a couple years ago now, and nice placard for him. And I think this is going to go right in my office, right behind where my desk is. So beautiful maple, all done up by hand with him. So he's getting to be pretty good with being a good word worker. So, um, and I'm going to put it right here on the end of the bar for tonight because it needs to be hung up. So, so that's kind of cool. And then, like we were saying, we did get our new 2 batches of hoodies in, the Whitetail and Whiskey green label and the brown label. Now the brown label is the Special Reserve limited release one, and then the green one has been our more popular one. We do still have both in most sizes available, so if you want them, get them before they're gone. We're going to do $45 on the hoodies, and that helps support bringing you guys different whiskeys every week, and some of the costs of cameras, mics, that kind of stuff for the podcast. So it's not 100% net loss. It's closer to zero, even though it's still a net loss. I think that's what Billy calls it with the Pert Near podcast. We're still in the hole, but it makes the hole a little shallower, I guess. So, and get some nice hoodies. This is probably my favorite brand of hoodie that we've had done yet. Super warm. I'm actually kind of sweating right now with this hoodie. It's really nice, nice thick fleece lining. Really comfortable. Like I was outside today with it, no issues at all. Um, so just good hoodies, and can't say enough about them. And these were done by Gorilla Tees out of Victor. So again, supporting a local company. We've got stuff through Vistaprint in the past, but now moving forward, now having a good relationship with Gorilla Tees, was able to support a local business at like the same cost or so, to be able to bring you guys the hoodies at the same cost. So if you are interested, drop us a comment or a message, and or shoot me over a text, or give Nate a call or my wife a call, somebody that you know that would have maybe a direct line to us, and we'll set you up. We did order in, I think it was 54 hoodies. Sold 10 or 12 right now. We've had some that were, spoken for by people, but when you come and grab them and pay for them, they're yours to take home. So, and we can do shipping. I think we can ship them for about $10, I think is what we came up with for the hoodies, to get them shipped out in a basic flat rate envelope. So we can get one sent out for an additional $10 too. So, and we have Venmo, take cash, check. Can't do cards. I don't have a swipey thing, but we have Venmo and all that good stuff too. So we'll be able to figure it out. We also take trades, your firstborn child, chickens, goats, stuff like that. So we're not too picky, but so the cost on those is $45 if you want to support the channel and what we're doing and stuff like that. And Owen needs new shoes, and we might need another bottle of whiskey or two to try for the show, and maybe update and put 2 cameras on this for different episodes and stuff that me and Nate have thought about doing and stuff like that. So, and all that goes right back into the show, to give you guys a better show. So there's my little shameless plug for the podcast for the night. Have you ever heard of chestnut trees being sterile and not producing chestnuts? I have 2 trees that are over 20 foot tall and not producing. So with chestnut trees, you're going to have a male and female tree. So if you don't have a male and a female, if you have 2 males or 2 females, you won't be producing any chestnuts because they won't be able to pollinate to produce the fruit or chestnut. In this case, produce that seed. So if they're 20 foot tall not producing, it could be that they're just not quite to the right age yet, or you could have two of the same gender of trees um, that aren't allowing that tree to produce both. So that might be what you're running into with your chestnuts. Um, it could be, like I said, that they haven't quite got the age to them yet. Um, but yeah, so I hope that helps. I hope that they just haven't got old enough yet for you. And you have a male and a female, and you lucked out on the draw, and it's is what you know. It is what it is with trees. A lot of people might not realize that when you're planting trees, so that's a good topic to dive into. Making sure you have males and females, or skew your planting um, to favor that by, let's just say, plantings of 5 or 6 to hopefully have a couple females and a couple males in that mix. Um, so another one that you might want is a cross pollinator for your fruit trees, your apples, pears, stuff like that. So making sure you have a varietal that will cross pollinate that tree to let it produce fruit. So that's all very good things to take into consideration. Like I said, it's better to plant a couple more, especially when you need like a cross pollinator or male and female trees in certain instances to, um, help you produce that fruit and that mast on that tree. So Bo says, how long does it typically take for a chestnut tree to produce? That's going to depend on it's going to depend on the varietal. You know, Probably 8 to 10, I would say, on the short end. Long scale, 15, maybe 20. Some varietals are going to produce maybe a little bit sooner than others. And I'd have to double check with whatever variety it is to, just reference it. But you can search whatever variety it is and kind of get your maturity date to see when it starts maturing to produce fruit or seed. Um, whatever way you want to refer to it as for that. So whatever to produce that mashed crop, that would be till maturity. So yeah, maybe 8 to 10, but some might take 15 or 20 depending on the variety that you have, whether it's a Dunstan, hybrids, Chinese chestnuts, American chestnuts probably aren't going to live long enough to seed out and fruit out. So um, I'm assuming you probably have like a hybrid or like a Chinese or a Chinese cross or a Dunstan or something like that that you planted. So I would check with maybe the nursery you got them from if you're having questions on your maturity age. But those are all things to consider too when you're planting your trees is how long it's going to take for that tree to produce or mature. Some things you can do when you are buying trees is buy, the right grafted varieties like the tin cup persimmon that I'm working with Blue Hill Wildlife Nursery to develop. That is a self-fertile persimmon. So typically you need a male and a female, but with that one, you will have the male and female all in one, so to speak. That one's a self-fertile persimmon. So, and that's not very common. And that's one that we're really looking forward to working with Ryan over there at Blue Hill and getting more of that tree out there. It's one I found on a piece of property and one that we're, trying to develop and bring out there for habitat and land managers and, um, you know, move them on up. Bo says, think you bought them Chestnut Hills. I think they are hybrids. Yeah, they're probably a hybrid cross of some sort. But yeah, you could reach out to Chestnut Hill and figure out what their maturity age is on average, and then that should be able to give you a little bit better insight in it. But typically, they tell you on those sites if you're going to need multiple trees or a male and a female tree, to produce. Um, the ways to check that is, checking if they have the long, not samaras, that's not the right word. They have long pollen pods if they're males, and then females will flower, if I'm not mistaken, with chestnuts and the way that they produce with it. They have long, basically long sperm cells, I guess you call them, for the male side of it, and that will fertilize the flower. So you'll see that with males and females, and I see that with my chestnuts that I've planted. Males and females, and you only need one male to pollinate a bunch of females. So that's one thing too, is just to plant a bunch of them, and you'll get males, you'll get females, and you'll be able to, produce some chestnuts with that. So, how far north do you think you can plant those persimmon trees? So they're in 8F. They're in New York. They're a hardy tree. We do have some cold winters and cold temperatures. It survived. I was in college, so probably the winter of 2012 or 2013, maybe it was 14, when we had those really cold temperatures. Most of Canandaigua Lake froze, which is something we don't see a lot down here, and that tree pushed through and did just fine. Didn't freeze out. So, um, I think that they could be planted, in most of New York. I don't know if you'd be able to get them into some zones of, let's just say, like Vermont, New Hampshire, stuff like that. You might run into issues on the Adirondack Park area and stuff like that. The foothills of the Adirondacks, you might, because you drop a couple more grow zones. But they do well in Wayne County, where the tree was originally found. So we'll see. And I know Ryan's been, doing extensive checks on them. They're doing well at his nursery down in PA, so that should be good. And I know he has a lot of root stock available for grafted cuttings to make sure that that's 100% that varietal of plant, going forward with it. So, and that's a tin cup persimmon, which I think it still shows as sold out on the on the on the website. But I know he's going to have more in when he starts grafting them out. How long before the persimmon trees bear fruit? I would say probably 10. You might get some sooner out of that, but I'd probably say 10 to 12 would be a safe bet. The tree was already mature and growing when we located it, so it's tough to say until we actually get one that's old enough. I know Ryan started planting some last year, so these will be year two, like 2 or 3 trees now, and we'll start to get some better ideas on that. So, but being a grafted, you might see sooner than that because it's not grown from seed. So because it's a cutting from the mother tree, um, or parent tree, whatever you want to call it, it might fruit sooner. And Ryan would probably have more insight into that than I would. Um, so again, that's Ryan over at Blue Hill Wildlife Nursery. So Plap says over on the YouTube line, I will take a green double XL. I actually have the ones that Nate already put your order in for you, Plap, and it's in my truck to give to him. I was going to drop it off tonight on my way through, but I got rushed around and stuff like that, so uh, didn't end up catching up with him at the end of the episode like I planned on doing to drop him off. But I do have your two that Nate wanted ordered pulled out already, so you're all good, Plap, and it's all waiting for you. Uh, Dan says, "Hey Ben, any large hoodies left?" Yes, we have large left in green and I believe brown. I will double check the box. My wife is very meticulous and organized with her stuff that she does with the town of Phelps and all those events she does. So she showed me creative and unique ways to inventory and categorize clothing, which is something that I never had to do. I never worked at a retail shop or anything like that. Always worked on a farm or doing manual labor kind of stuff growing up. So I never worked a retail store. So she showed me definitely unique ways to fold them, which is very compact and simple, and inventory them, and helping me keep much better track of it than I would be doing on my own. I used to literally just put a safety pin on them and hang them all up on hangers in my closet when I used to do hoodies for Old Tin Cup and stuff like that. So this is much simpler and much more refined process. But yeah, Dan, we do have large left in the green and I believe the brown. So if you are interested in it, let me know, and or don't let yeah, just tell me what color you want, Dan, and we'll get one out to you guys, and we'll make sure we have the right address this time because when we sent you guys the Christmas card, it kicked back to us. So we'll have to double check your address, and if not, we can always drop it off at Mary and Joe's, and somebody can grab it when you guys are back in town or whatever you want to do, man. We'll get one to you. And thank you for tuning in tonight. And I hope you're enjoying a whiskey. Um, do have the 18-year-old Scotch down here at the end of the bar that we were able to have together at Christmas. So, um, yeah, I did like that Scotch. So, cheers. Hmm. Definitely a little warmer on that one than I was getting in the past, but I did have a little bit bigger sip with it. And again, the whiskey of tonight is the last one going into our infinity bottle is the Bell Mead straight sour mash bourbon whiskey. Um, so, and even though it's not, you know, in Kentucky, it's a Tennessee one that is distilled in Indiana. So it doesn't have to be made in Kentucky to be a bourbon either. That's another thing that some people um, don't know right off when it comes to bourbon, or heard that it's got to get done a little bit differently. To be a bourbon, all it's got to be is in a 51%, or I forget what the corn breakdown is right off, but it has to have corn in the mash. It's corn-based product, aged in a new American white oak charred barrel, and it can be aged as little as 3 seconds to be a bourbon. So technically, this is bourbon in my um, my little Whitetails and Whiskey podcast bourbon barrel down here at the end of the bar. But after this batch comes out, it can no longer be a bourbon that comes out of this barrel. It will only be a whiskey because it's not a brand new virgin charred white oak barrel. So just a little bit of something uh, for the whiskey and bourbon, kind of nerds that are tuning in a little bit with this, or if you want to learn more about it, we're going to give you some tips and stuff along the way, and some, fun facts that you might not even have cared to have known for your whiskey and bourbon, knowledge. But so, all right. Well, I'm gonna do another little pour of that to see after we get out of the neck if it changes. Not as good of a pop the second time around. It never is. So, what's everybody else doing tonight? What's everybody else maybe drinking tonight? What do you got going on for habitat projects? I know we're gonna probably only go for another 15 minutes or so for an hour long show tonight for the podcast. Um, just because we got a later start on it. I'm by myself, and I like hanging out with other people and talking. And like I said, we'll do a follow-up episode at some point with Ethan and Taylor to talk about Taylor's public land hunt and some of the success they've found, some do's and don'ts, some how-to stuff on the public land side of it. So I'm really looking forward to that. I was looking forward to it tonight. And then next week, I believe it's next week or the week after, we got Andy from Bernestle's Deer Processing coming in. I don't know if he's going to come here. We're going to come to him, and we're going to talk some do's and don'ts of game processing management. Some of the stuff, to help you bring a better product to the table. Um, and we'll probably cook up some venison and have a nice little chat and sit down, have some venison, talk about what to do and don't when you prepare your venison, or prepare it, field dress it, and all that stuff, and help you bring a better product to the table, so you don't get that person that says, that's gamey, or that's kind of tastes bad, or stuff like that. So, and there's a lot of stuff you can do after the harvest before it comes to your dinner plate that will make that a much better product for you to bring and share with everybody. So, one thing I haven't checked yet today, or tonight rather, is the bullhorn side. So, of course, my laptop's freezing up, so I hope the picture isn't all screwy right now. But nothing over the Whitetails and Whiskey bullhorn side either. So I was just checking to make sure Billy or one of them guys wasn't tuned in over there and dropping in comments that we couldn't see. So other than that, what I got doing here at the house, I do have some apple trees I have to trim here in my front yard. Got to do a couple things with my garden beds and stuff like that to prep before this upcoming year. I'm trying to think of what else I have going on. just a lot of stuff. Busy. Holidays were busy. It was really stretched out this year, which was nice, but at the same time, it stretched it out. So there was always kind of something going on rather than rushing through and getting them all done at once, which was very nice. Gave more time to enjoy with the friends and family that we were gathered with to enjoy those times and to be able to break out the little, whiskey and bourbon samplers and, drink a little bit and enjoy it and share some of the flavors and stuff that I enjoy, and hang out and just catch up with people. People we haven't really seen, some of them since COVID and all that several years ago now. So uh, I hope you guys all got a chance to do the same. Dan says I sent the link over to some of my Australian buddies, big hunters. Appreciate it, Dan. So maybe we'll be in Australia right now. Who knows? Podcast is expanding. We're all the way over almost to the West Coast. I know of. So that'd be really cool to spread out. I know we have people that have tuned in from Ohio before. We had somebody tune in from China one time, but I don't know if that was just somebody that was. They probably stole all my credit card information and emptied out my bank account. So who knows? But we've made it all the way out to Idaho, maybe now Australia, which is really cool, Dan. I appreciate that. Like I said, Ohio, New York, we've had people tune in and check it out from kind of all over the map here in the United States, which is really cool. So, but yeah, and I hope it continues to grow and everything like that. I know this, like I said, is a short show tonight. It's not the normal show. Hopefully Nate is back on, and in the next couple of weeks, he's the one that keeps it rolling. So I'm not just looking at a screen talking to myself and everything, and he brings up a little bit more of another point of view for the conversation, which is always much needed and enjoyable. So I do want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight to this late kind of improv show. This will be all posted up on the Whitetails and Whiskey YouTube page after this, so you can check out past shows. All the episodes are up over there, and then the lives are going to get bottled back up and put back on the channel as well, so you can watch them later as well with it. So, if you're tuning in on the Facebook side of it or the YouTube side, or you see all this shared by somebody, we are giving away a free Whitetails and Whiskey Infinity bottle. The only thing we're going to redo is the label. The label is going to be a white jumping deer out of the whiskey glass logo for the bottle, so it sticks out a little bit more. It looked good when it was black and the bottle was empty, but now that it's filling up, it's a little hard to see it, so we're going to put probably a white label on it, and we'll probably sign it and write episodes blank through blank, and then we'll attach it, let you know what's in the bottle as well. So, but yeah, that'll be given away either episode 20 or 21. So tune back in, and all you got to do to enter is head over to the YouTube page and subscribe. And we'll be able to look at the subscriber list and pick a winner, and we'll notify them after. Or if you're tuned in live, you can cheers and celebrate and everything with us, and we'll make sure you get your bottle. So. Alrighty. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I think next week we should start on time unless we have more craziness happen. But 7:30 is when we usually do the shows. I might start doing some different episodes and stuff throughout the week, but those will be filmed ahead of time. The live will always be the live on Wednesdays, as far as we go going forward. So, and looking to get a couple more guests on. We got Tomes and Taylor, and then Andy and a couple other people we've thought about bringing on or talk to, and it'll be good to have other topics and stuff and main focuses on it and all that stuff. So cheers everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. Dave says I'll see you Monday. I'll see you in Casanova on Monday, Dave. Looking forward to it, and yeah, just thank you everyone for the support, appreciate it a lot, and I'll catch you all next time here at the bar or at the shed or wherever we're broadcasting from that night. So cheers everyone, take care.